Um, I think we could do it.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
so you are gonna get your chance?
Not today, but maybe, probably.
Also, my Off-Spawn fighting has increased in skill.
Okay, cool. Bye.
Maybe later tonight though?
If I'm really feeling it, but probably not.
Alright, bye.
Bye.
59.
68.
After averaging 5 good crunches for each of 17 different brands of chips, we had our numbers. Mostly, everything fell in a similar range of 55 to 65 decibels, but there were some very clear trends that stood out amongst the kings of the crunch. First, both of our top spots went to exotic vegetable chips, Simple Truth and Terra Original. Chips that were a mixed bag of taro, sweet potato, batata, and yuca. Yeah, it's pronounced yuca. I looked it up. It came as a surprise to me, too. Yeah, Yossi, our audio guy, called that one out. Thanks for looking out for me, Yossi. Yucca? I always thought it was yucca. Learn something new every day. Anyway, I did a little digging afterward and found a comment thread that discusses how Terra chips are, quote, abnormally hard and crunchy, which means that we were clearly on the right track and that our experiment was lining up with other people's anecdotal evidence about things. The next two spots were potato chips, but specifically kettle-cooked potato chips. This meant that I needed to do some research into kettle chips, since, at the time, all I knew about them was that they're the type that you buy whenever you want to have cuts in the roof of your mouth. But Harold McGee, author who writes about chemistry of food science and cooking, explains that the kettle method is really just a slower way of frying these things in batches. You see, adding each new batch of potatoes to the fryer drops the temperature of the oil every time. As a result, the potatoes take slightly longer to cook, giving the remaining starch in the potatoes time to absorb moisture and dissolve before the potato finishes frying. This results in a thicker and sturdier chip. So it seemed like we had our two major variables that were boosting overall crunch: exotic root veggies and a kettle cooking process. It's also worth noting, of all the chips that I tested, the potato-based Pringles actually registered the least noisy crunch. Why? Well, Pringles aren't made from sliced potatoes like most other chips. Instead, they're made from dried potato flakes that are then machine molded back into that signature chip shape. As such, while they certainly taste great and are incredibly consistent in color, shape, and flavor, the fact that they've already been chopped up and reformed diminishes the overall crunch. I was also surprised to see how poorly corn tortilla chips performed on the list, riding in the low to mid end of the pack. But after doing a bit of research, I learned that the crunch of a chip is ultimately decided by the moisture content
Get it.
prior to frying. When something gets dropped into the boiling oil, be it a potato slice, pork skin, or a bit of tortilla, the moisture in each individual cell of the chip immediately vaporizes. This is the bubbling that you see happening whenever something gets dropped into a fryer. This is what gives you that hard outer crust that makes frying so delicious and satisfying. You are, in essence, dehydrating the chip. From there, the oil rushes in to fill the space that the water left behind. The more moisture available prior to the frying, the longer the chip can be in the fryer and the crunch.
Do you want to play video games?
I think I can. Let's play Destiny 2 right now.
Fun.
Should I come to get it?
Hang on, actually just friend me on Discord and we can talk while we play.
You know, I finish this match and then I'll text you.
Okay.
Crunchier the final product will be. The problem with many tortilla chips is that they're baked prior to frying, meaning that they're starting. From a point of less moisture, as opposed to something like, say, a potato slice or veggie wedge. Veggie wedgie? Veggie wedge, that's what we're going with. Lastly, thickness seems to be the ideal size for a chip. And
Call has been forwarded.
anything thinner seemed to be cooking too quickly and wasn't solid enough to create a good solid snap. So, to summarize, we needed a potato or other root vegetable that was cooked kettle style at a medium 1/8 thickness. But which root vegetable? And how best to prepare it? It was time for the next phase of data collection.
Just walk along.
It's like the opening of Iron Chef where he takes like the raw pepper and he goes,
You're gonna want to spit that out.
First, we wanted to test what prep method would deliver the best results. Online recipes all suggest soaking or rinsing your potatoes out to remove excess starch prior to the frying, but they all suggest different ways of doing that. So, using 3 batches of russet potatoes, we created 3 groups based on the most popular recommendations from those online recipes. Soaking the potatoes in water, soaking in a vinegar-water mixture, and parboiling, or partially boiling the potatoes.
they're not crisp yet. They're still flaccid, sand.
Stop. I know you're gonna eat that. Stop.
Maybe I'm just hungry, Steph. Maybe I am calorically in need.
We have 10 bags of chips over there.
That's a good point. Thank you. Thank you for calling that out.
Yeah. I think Caden's gonna come over here, and then we're gonna do it. Like, and then can you drive us somewhere? Okay. Alright.
After soaking the first two groups for 25 minutes and parboiling the third, we threw small batches of potatoes into the fryer at 302 degrees Fahrenheit. We specifically chose to use safflower oil in the fryer because that's what showed up on all the websites for the 4 top crunchy chip competitors from round 1.
Then, freshly cut chips fly directly into a vat of a special bubbling hot oil that's low in saturated fats.
We use a very specific type of safflower oil because of its neutral taste.
But just because I used it didn't mean that I knew what I was doing at the time.
What is a safflower? Have I ever seen a safflower in life?
Yes, past Matt Pat, safflower is indeed a flower. It's actually part of the sunflower family, but it looks more like a pokey thistle. The reason many restaurants and chip manufacturers use safflower oil for their frying is because it has a higher smoke point than other commonly used oils like sunflower and canola. A smoke point is the temperature at which fat begins to smoke, so in general, safflower oil leads to a more stable and safer cooking experience. Much to everyone's surprise, after salting and cooling our 3 batches, it immediately became clear that parboiling delivered the strongest crunch.
They all made a fair showing, honestly, but the winner is, I mean, by several decibels, like, seems to be the parboiled.
Yeah, I was gonna say, parboiled seems to be the way to go. It feels sturdier.
Okay, do you know it's like that? So that's pretty much what we're doing. Alright, awesome. You guys, you want to go to George Wallace? Like George Wallace flooding them? Or do you just want to stay in my neighborhood? Stay in my neighborhood? It's a drive. So my mom could drive us there, or we could just stay in my neighborhood. Either one's fun. George Wallace is super busy. My neighborhood would just be like us. So that one would probably be more fun. It's pretty steep, but like compared to our neighborhood, it's way steeper. Oh, and my brother just has surgery. So, whichever one you want to go to, I would say it's like a 5-minute car ride. I would I have multiple. Yeah, let's just keep going. I don't care. Why don't you come over here at like 1 or 2:30? Or 2:30. Because right now I'm pretty lonely and bored. Alright. Yeah, see you soon.
feels more crunchy in our mouth, even though every single one was prepared the exact same way. So on average, parboil is yielding the crunchiest of the 3 preparation methods. Now the question is, which vegetable is actually going to yield the crunchiest?
Even Ollie agreed.
Bean, here's one more that we have to test. What do you think? How's that on the crunchy scale? Super crunch, nice.
Though I gotta say, if you're ever looking at making salt and vinegar chips, you just let the potatoes soak in a light mix of vinegar before boiling. That's all you need to do, and they wind up delicious. From there, it was time for our final round, testing all the different vegetables that we could find using everything that we had learned thus far. We selected 8 different root vegetables, 2 varieties of potatoes, yams, sweet potatoes, beets, celery root, rutabaga, and turnips. We sliced, we parboiled, we heated up the safflower oil to 300 degrees, and then we threw them all into the fryer batch by batch, kettle style. Once they were out, Stephanie struggled to get into position to try and get footage off the decibel meter.
Oh, I did a Chloe Ting workout yesterday.
With all grace and speed.
I'm really sore, sorry. I didn't realize how serious getting up on the counter was gonna be today.
Man.
Oh my God.
YouTube is a young man's game.
And from there, it was time for the final crunch test.
We're gonna take 3 samples from each type of chip. We're gonna act.
If I send an
Ready to move? Pay a low 1% listing fee when you buy and sell with Redfin. You can save.
One sec, Ronaldo's knocking on my door. I gotta let him in.
Ninja!
Yo, why you gotta let this kid in here, bro?
Oh, he's upset. He said, how you gonna let him in?
I don't like that. What's up? Ask him if he's still getting shit on solos.
Are you still getting down in solos, he said?
Never mind. Let me die.
Oh yeah, we play pubs. Oh, he's upset. He said, how you gonna let him in?
I don't like that. What's up? Ask him if he's still getting shit on solos.
Down in solos, he said?
Never mind. Let me die.
Oh yeah, we play pubs.
The enemy has recruited new spies, and I'd like to know who they are. The imagined armed suits are programmed to recognize friendly.
I'm gonna do one more.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take 3 samples from each of our different chip types. From there, Stephanie's gonna be recording the maximum decibels that the meter hears. We'll take the average, and from there we'll determine what is the ultimate crunchy chip. Ready?
Ready.
Ready?
Ready.
Great, all right, let's do this. Let's start with the basic guys. We have our golden and our russet. So let's start with some golden potato, first and foremost.
The maximum we're getting is like 63.
There, I will say they feel kind of soggy. That's golden potato, roughly 63. Next, russet potato.
That was 64.
Nice. So potatoes, yeah, an okay showing, not great. I think now let's move on to, what do we got? Okay, sweet potato. These guys look promising. Ooh, these are, look at how beautiful these are. Whoa. It's wild when you look through.
59.
Yam. I am what I am, and that's all that I am.
58.
I was gonna say that one. This one feels soft.
All right, what do we got up next?
Rutabaga.
Rutabaga.
Here we go.
Oh, 64.5.
That was a
I
good
think
one.
that was.
That was a good one. Turn up.
57.8. Next.
We're down to our final two competitors, celery and beet.
By the way, it's celery root, not like the green stuff you get at the store. 62.4. I actually like beet chips, and so I'm kind of rooting for these guys. 57.2.
And the final verdict? Yeah, we made some delicious chips.
That being said, and they're very tasty. I love these chips, actually. They're delicious.
Except for maybe the celery root.
Oh, it's